Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 90 Degree Show, hosted by the Marching Podcast and Blog Talk Radio. Advice may be misleading, but examples are always clear. And here's your host, the Phantom Podcaster himself, Joe Beard.
Good evening and welcome to the 90 Degree Show. I'm your host, Joe Beard, and happy to be of service for you tonight. Today is October 25th, 2015, 5 o'clock on the West Coast and 8 o'clock on the East Coast. We appreciate all those listening in live, whether in podcast form, whether through iTunes, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. I saw I can put stuff on LinkedIn. Hey, YouTube, wherever you are on the interwebs this evening. At the conclusion of the show, if you like what you hear, you can take the time and go to our website, themarchingpodcast.com, and check out the donate button to help improve the show and help build the scholarship fund. I'm fumbling over myself. We appreciate the show. Y'all check it out, themarchingpodcast.com. Click on the donate button to help improve the show and the scholarship fund. Got to excuse me, I'm a little under the weather if you can't take it out. Had a little bit of a cold this week, but I'm back doing better, but still a little hurt. But it's all good. We want to roll on. Thanks for listening tonight. Welcome you to the 2015 season. If this is your first time listening, thanks. Check us out at themarchingpodcast.com. Follow us on Twitter. Check at Marching Podcast. Also check out our blog 4.themarchingpodcast.com. I think Rashad will be on the show tonight. We're going to get into week 8. Yes, Rashad will. I see Rashad there. So we're going to get into week 8 tonight. Let me see here. All right, week 8, tonight's show, I'll throw it out there. Tonight's show is brought to you by Rose Towel Stone on Periscope, 8 to 5 Entertainment on Periscope. Chavis Anderson, saw him a couple weeks ago, represent Delaware State. A lot of folks' homecoming was this weekend, y'all, so he was out there doing his thing. And Mr. Travis Johnson, Mr. JT85, and, of course, our man Garrett Edgerson. Turn off the intro music here, checking out Southern, if you will. So we got to check out their tape this week. Thanks again very much. I will bring in our man, Rashad Waters, the owner and founder of Block Band Music and Publishing. What's going on, right, Rashad? How you doing?
Hey, man, this is he is I, and he is him. Slim with the rim, messing up the guard line, but, so does every other rapper nowadays. What's happening there, Joe?
Man, I'm doing all right, man. Getting over this cold this week. But, was able to check out some videos and stuff. And going through week 8, it was our homecoming, Jackson State homecoming this week. But it was Smith's homecoming. It was like a whole bunch of people homecoming. And I live down the street here in Redlands, California, from the University of Redlands. And their homecoming was this weekend. So it's just homecoming down, man. Well, what was up with you this week, man?
Same thing. I was actually at A&T homecoming this week.
Oh, okay. A&T homecoming. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes,
yeah, I didn't get to check out. I know Chrissy, I think put on Facebook so I could check out their halftime show. I didn't get a chance to check out A&T. That's actually a good segue into what I got to check out. I saw this week the 5th. Between Southern and Texas Southern. I'm just guessing with the hurricane coming up there through Mexico and those warm waters there, for all you geographers out there, with that latent heat. And I'll just keep it there. I'll just keep warm water and latent heat. I won't go too further. But I'm guessing they didn't get to go on the field, I guess, because it was raining during the 5th that I saw.
Yeah, everything that I saw was that. I didn't find any evidence of a halftime show at all. everything I saw was just in the stands.
Okay, and then I saw Virginia. I didn't put this on the trailer, and depending on how it goes, I saw Virginia Union and Bowie State, I believe, but I couldn't
Was
make
it Virginia Union or Virginia State?
Let me look at my phone. I thought it was VUU that I saw. So I was thinking, that would be Virginia Union. Maybe I typed it down wrong or something. But yeah, I look on there. I thought it was. Okay, yeah. Here's my little Periscope joint, and then of course it's 24 hours now, so I can't really say I can't say who it was, but yeah, I saw that, and I think Bowie State, I believe. But yeah, I couldn't get all the way to the end, brother. But if somebody wants to call in, hey, you see the number 718-664-6025. And no disrespect to either school, it was just, man, it was just not going. It wasn't bad, you know what I mean. I just wasn't able to. I just wasn't able to get the pulse of that particular fifth battle. And then halftime, I did see Jackson State. I saw Morgan and North Carolina Central. That actually turned out to be the main halftime show or main battle I got to see. I didn't see a fifth between those two, but I got to see it. My man T.D. Hollins, DeLynn, out there. So that's what I got to see. What did you get a chance to check out, man?
Brother, I saw almost nothing. I just recently have seen the stuff from Texas Southern and Southern, and other than being at the halftime, at the A&T homecoming, which was also somewhat of a something not good. I don't know what word I'm gonna put there, but also something that was a fail. I saw both bands from the back, so I really couldn't take in everything they did. Although I did later watch, thanks to our great Christy. I did later watch the A&T halftime show, and so I can, talk about that, and I can talk about the fifth quarter and the game. But other than that, that's pretty much all I saw this weekend.
Man, that's a whole lot, man. The A&T homecoming, someone who hit the ground, and someone who actually saw the video that Christy shared out. Shout out to Christy. Will be on. I know she said that she probably wouldn't be on tonight. She probably, like, hangover faded or something, like, from the weekend. Just kidding, Christy. I don't know if you get down like that. Oh, wait, she said I just called in. Oh, look. Oh, look at I'm trying to make a joke, and then here we go. The great Christy Walker. What's going on tonight, Christy? How you doing?
See, y'all trifling. Y'all just trifling.
Well, y'all, don't put me in this.
Yeah.
That's West Coast.
Y'all just trifling. I can't with y'all. I mean, can a girl have fun on her homecoming? I mean, darn, can I live?
Yeah. We are excited to have you on.
Nice to be on. I thought I wasn't going to be able to call in tonight, but some things freed up, so.
That's cool.
I'm here.
That's cool. Well, that's always outstanding to have you on. Have to tell you guys that I'm finding out now that the key in podcasting is post-editing. So it ain't so much what you type that's going to be on the show, but it's what you, after the show is over, then, you put in there. Some folks, shout out to the guy, hit it up on YouTube when I get it up. But he was like, yeah, man, you got to start, revising your tags and start putting who was on the show and all that. I was like, man, you right. You know what I'm saying? So now, I didn't have you on the tags, Christy, but see, after tomorrow, all of that stuff will be updated. So I'm glad to have you on. So you got to be at the homecoming. I saw some pictures. Everybody's homecoming.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, I did have a good time. I called it my drive-by homecoming because I actually didn't stay. I didn't stay overnight. I mean, being that I only live an hour away.
Overnight.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay. Yeah, well, you know how G-Ho is. But I didn't stay overnight. It was one of those, just woke up really early, drove to Greensboro, Marching Alumni Parade, watched the game, did a little bit of socializing and left. So, I mean, I'm fine with that. I had stuff to do back home, but So, yeah, it was a good time. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed marching in the alumni band. I had fun. So it was all good.
That's outstanding. Well, I definitely want to hear about, alumni band experience. I've only had one myself. I actually marched Smith's alumni band one year. I don't remember what that was, but I hadn't been able to. I don't know if I ever go back to Jackson to march. I can't like kick it or march, do something serious in Jackson. So, but that's exciting. So I definitely want to hear about it. So I want to put you guys on mute so we can get the commercials going. Like they say, pay the bills for our beloved sponsors. Give it up for our beloved sponsors here. I just give an applause here. Everyone has re-signed, and I just want to I have a fiscal year here at the Marching Podcast. It's the year we renew every year with Blog Talk Radio, and of course all of our sponsors was like, nothing, of course they all renewed. So shout out to them. Really excited, have another year of success, and I already know that the National Signing Day for marching bands this upcoming year is going to be exciting, since now the kids know they're getting some ends. You know what I'm saying? So really excited about that, and really excited to have you guys on helping me give out those blessings to those kids, or the precious lambs, like the great Christy says. So we'll go ahead and hear from the commercials. Thanks for listening tonight, you guys. 90 Degree Show here, week 8, here on the Marching Podcast Network.
Hey, this is Kenny, and you're listening to the Marching Podcast. Hi, this is Yoko. You're listening to the Marching Podcast.
Having an anniversary party, birthday party, or better yet, you're about to marry that special someone? Liquid Effects Photography is the perfect choice to immortalize all your most special moments. With 10 years of dependable professional service that can deliver from the conventional to the best in cutting-edge technology and creativity. Come experience the uniqueness of Liquid Effects Photography. We serve the entire upper Midwest and will travel further upon request. Come check us out at liquideffects.com. That's LIQUIDEFFEX.com. Or call us at 773-454-5556. That's 773-454-5556.
From photo shoots to graduation pictures, from probates to band footage, from pageants to yard shows, there's only one team you can count on, the Edge One Productions. Visit theedge1.com and trust me, you won't be disappointed.
Band directors, have you ever found yourselves in this situation? Showtime is quickly approaching. Your budget is quickly disappearing. Your music choices are narrowing. The equipment condition is wearing and your stress level is mounting. Stop what you're doing and contact Block Band Music and find out how we've got you. Check www.blockbandmusic.com, providing music, equipment, gear, and accessories to show style, core style, and traditional bands worldwide.
What if there was a Facebook for bands? Wait a minute, there is. Bandhead.org. Bandhead.org is a social network for HBCU show bands. You can create your own profile and post videos, photos, and comments on Bandhead.org. Need somewhere to post events, audition schedules, job postings? Check out Bandhead.org. Are you recruiting for talent? Go to Bandhead.org. Bandhead.org, a social network for bands.
Chopping It Up is a podcast of one-on-one interviews with positive role models that have a connection through music and or education. Chopping It Up is all about inspiring our youth for a great future and providing a roadmap on how to get there. We also chop it up to give insight to anyone looking for information or hope in their endeavors. Chop it up with us on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern at blogtalkradio.com/marchingpodcast. Chopping It Up, changing the world through positive interaction.
Hello, this is Dr. Joel Beard, Jackson State alumnus, 1966. I march in the Jackson State Marching Band, which was then called the best band in the land. And you are now listening to the 90 Degrees Show here on the Marching Podcast Network.
Welcome back. You listen to the Ocean of Soul, bringing us back from the break. Texas Southern, their matchup this week with Southern in Houston. Really cool. It's cool to see them at like the big stadium and then seeing all the ads for like, you know, the soccer team and all the other stuff going on in Houston. So outstanding. And then it was a trip. The bands were, of course, like in these crazy places, really high. And then Southern was like in the dark. They wasn't in the shed now. Hey, I understand. I'm glad that we on the show somebody can actually break that down this week as we take that back. Shout out to your brother Leonard as I bring Christy and Rashard back on here. And let me go over here. Let me just put this in the applause. I didn't have this in the script. I'm glad I thought about that. But yeah, Southern was in that little part of the stadium. But I asked last week in the analysis about, you know, Tuskegee. And I was like, oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. But they in that dark. They in that roof thing. And before I called it anything, I was like, hey, this is Tuskegee. And this is, you know, we talking peanut butter here. I don't want to, like, say nothing ignorant. and so... then John actually called in, the director there at Tuskegee. He said, oh, no, man, that's the shed, yo. He's like, yo, like, that's the shed. And if somebody say something about it, it's, you know, it's like Ice Cube and Boys in the Hood are going to have some problems. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I was surprised. Then he sent me the link. You guys, I'm sure, what's this, Ball and Parlay? I guess that's what they said.
Yeah.
You guys Y'all can YouTube that. It's on my page for all my friends, all to see it. But, man, I was like, wow, that's definitely the HBCU experience. So if you ain't seen it, definitely check it out. And I was like, dang. And then they right there. And the football team right there. Like, dang. So that was pretty tight. So have you guys ever seen that before?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like, I need to get to a Tuskegee game. I need to get down there.
Right. That's a lot of folks were saying. So shout out to your brother Leonard. So thanks for school and breaking me down on that. 718-664-6025. You're listening week 8 with Rashard, Christy Walker, myself, talking about lots of homecoming. So we definitely have to update our information to say we talked about A&T's homecoming as well. And you can't forget about A&T. So Miss Walker, I will give you the floor. How was that halftime performance there at the band? And please talk about, you know, the homecoming experience, even though it was a drive-by, you know. Tell us how it was.
Well, I had fun. You know, I marched in the alumni band in marched with the alumni band in the homecoming parade. Actually, both of my parents, they marched for A&T too. So the three of us, we marched in the band together.
That's
and that was
right,
a nice family moment. That was a nice family moment. So
have you ever done that before?
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't marched every year since I graduated, but I know I definitely did that first year. And then, there were some homecomings that I had to miss for various reasons, but my parents have marched in the alumni band for 39 consecutive years.
Oh, wow.
The A&T's alumni band was founded in 1976. So they've marched. They were like some of the founding members. They've marched every year. Next year is going to be our 40th. So hoping there'll be a big turnout for the band. And so that was a good experience. And then of course the game. Well, I didn't even know that Howard's band was coming. Like I don't know. Maybe I've been out of the loop or whatever.
Howard's band came?
But yeah, Howard's band came. Mm-hmm.
They did?
See?
I'm sorry.
See?
I apologize.
Yeah. Okay, so I know, put up on. Anyway, Howard they did a good show. I like their halftime show because they're a small band, but they weren't no punks. You know what I mean? Just because they're small, and I can appreciate that. They kind of had some struggle trumpets going on, but other than that, I thought that they gave a really entertaining halftime show, and they were respectful. They started off with saying something about, we dedicate this show, or we'd like to, acknowledge Dr. Hodge, who was the band director at A&T and who was apparently really cordial with Mr. Newsom at Howard. So, I appreciated that. It was respectful. It was a good show. I liked it. Now, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean. I thought I had my mic muted. But yeah, I thought it was funny what you said. It was respectful.
What?
You're being it's just like that's code for we were scared as hell. We didn't want A&T to play with us.
No, that was not code.
Okay. Well, I'm
see,
sorry.
Y'all a mess. See, that
there you
really
go with
was
this
not
y'all
his
stuff
code.
again. I'm just sitting there on the phone in the quiet. Listen.
Mr. Did they come? Okay.
But that was a whole different comment. I mean, they didn't have any seats. They didn't have any seats, did they? That was a whole nother comment. I'll talk about that, Joe, when we get to that. The whole Howard no seats situation.
Because, a lot of people do that now. Folks, folks be like, oh, okay, if y'all coming, this is our homecoming now. And we about to do 40-minute halftime show. So Pine Bluff, I don't want to ruin anything. They did a great business decision. They just didn't go to Jackson. So I think, I think that was smart. But please, Christy, that's why I usually mute myself so this don't happen. You know what I'm saying? So please.
Okay, no problem. Now, let me just, being that both of my parents marched to A&T, and I went to A&T, and I marched to A&T, and my parents they're very active in athletic boosters and things like that. So I've been going to A&T games since I was, really little, and I remember even to the point when I was a preteen and when I was a teenager, my parents would march in alumni band, and I would actually march, I would walk in the parade route beside them, and so, I've seen years and years of A&T stuff. I'm not a scholar, like I don't know every show that my program has ever done, but I've seen them for a while. With that said, I have to say that A&T show that they did for homecoming was, I was speechless. I legitimately was speechless because it was the best halftime show, one of the best I've probably ever seen in Black College Bands, period, and I've been a band head for about 30 years. So I know that statement, when I say that, it doesn't come lightly. I don't say that for everybody. Earlier this year, I've been saying that A&T has been kind of hit or miss, and I know it's my school, and, they've had some moments where I've been like, well, they're not as strong as they were last year. But this show, that was a game changer. Like, I've never sat at a game and just, when the last note was played, I could not even move. It was awesome. And I have to give a shout-out to Aaron Campbell, who was the person who came up with the show concept, and he wrote the show, and who I actually marched with when I was at A&T. I have to give him props because that was just spectacular. I mean, the clips are on YouTube now. I really hope it goes viral. So I don't want to, spoil it or anything for the people who may not have seen it. If you are friends with me on Facebook and you're watching this, you can just go to my Facebook page because I put it on my wall. I thought it was a game changer. I want to I could ramble on and on about this show because it was awesome, but I'm curious to hear what Rashad has to say. Somebody who is, not affiliated with the program.
I'm actually posting the clip now in the chat room for all the folks that are in the chat room. Sorry, wrong mute thing. For all the folks that's in the chat room, I didn't want the show to start coming in over the mic, but for all the folks in the chat room, I'm posting that there now, so you guys can check out what Christy's talking about. Okay, so Rashad, go ahead, please.
Oh, okay. Is it going to turn it over to me, or Christy? Do you have anything else you want to say about A&T Homecoming?
Well, just about the halftime. She said she was interested by what you. Just check out. What did you think about the halftime show? I'm interested in what you think too.
Honestly, it was hard to have that same type of opinion, and that was simply because of where I was sitting. I saw the show from the back, and so I could tell there were some good things going on, and there was a lot of, there's a lot of times when we stood up because, the announcer asked us to stand up, but the show itself was, it was something really brought to instill a pride in black people. And there was a lot of, All Lives Matter and Black Lives Matter involved. And, at the end of the show, they formed the picture of one of the buildings on campus. And in front of that building on the A&T's campus, there is the Greensboro Four, which is four gentlemen who were very important to the civil rights effort in Greensboro, who were part of a sit-in in the Woolworths there on Elm Street in Greensboro. And it was really cool to do that. And so from the perspective, now I did watch the video later from Christy's show, thanks to Christy, and I will say that A&T is that band that continues to stress the bar when it comes to creativity. They are that band that they are the opposite of what everybody's complaining about. What you're hearing now is a lot of bad people complaining about the fact that so many shows are predictable. And we're not just talking about Bethune, but, across the board, show style band hasn't changed very much in 30 years. And A&T continues to really, really stress that. So I don't know if I would say it was one of my best shows that I've seen, but again, I didn't have the first-hand experience looking at it from the front, but I will say it was a really great show. Some of the things I took away were like small transitions where the marching wasn't there, or just little things. But the thing you got to remember is that A&T had 1 week to get this completely different show together. The show was completely different than the last two shows that they've done. So there's only so much perfection you can have when you're changing your show that much. So as a stickler for that type of stuff, it was hard for me to say it was perfect. But if you're doing the same show over and over again, that's the only way you can have that type of perfection. But my hat is off to A&T for coming out there and really going out there and talking about some of those important issues there and really involving, Dr. Martin Luther King and oh my God,
President Obama.
And President Obama, thank you. Appreciate that. So that's my spiel on that.
That's really good. I mean, I didn't know it was like that. I mean, I didn't know it was deep like that. And now I looked at Chrissy's page, and then now I see the four brothers up there. I mean, that's deep. You know, I mean,
Did you watch
that's even.
The show?
No, I didn't get a chance to see the show.
Oh,
I saw
okay.
you send it to me later. But no,
Okay.
I didn't get. That's why I was so glad that you guys would be able to talk about it. But no, that's actually really, really outstanding. So I'm excited to now check out that show because I definitely would like to see that show. I mean, like
and
you
I
said,
feel
creativity.
I feel like
Go
it
ahead.
was really classy. It's classy. So of course there's always going to be some haters out there. I mean, this is HBCU band, so we know it's always going to be some haters. But I just thought it was a very classy move.
Well, what were the haters saying? Because me, myself, off gate,
Well,
if
no,
I
I'm saying
wanted
that
to be... I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, well, you know how... Come on, you know our subculture, and people like to be ignorant, and, they like to do that kind of stuff, so...
I didn't know, because I wouldn't think that it was anything. I didn't know nobody would necessarily say anything. Me... Of course, you know how I am, Rashad. I'm like, don't bring Jesus into stuff. Like, I don't want to, So with that, I thought at least a whole lot of, black folks would understand that. Was it just too real or something like that?
Well, the hater, Chrissy, I'm assuming that you're not talking about necessarily hatred for this particular show, but just the fact that A&T, just experiences its level of hatred overall. Is that right?
No, I was actually talking about the show. Like, people, you can't compliment anybody's band without saying, well, they ain't do nothing, blah, 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 blah. I'm talking about this show. I'm talking about this particular show.
Okay, well, Chrissy don't want to get into it, but if someone wants to drop the bomb, let us know on the show, because... I mean, I definitely want to hear the criticism to it. Me, I was like, don't be bringing, like, tears and, like, my emotions in the shows. But if it's something opposite of that, or if it's just straight hate for A&T, then, I mean, I guess I can understand that.
So you don't like an emotional show? I'm just curious. So you don't like a...
Yeah, well, yes. I don't...
So you're not a fan of, like, theme shows?
No, not theme, but like gospel shows. Like
oh no, it's
stuff everyone in the whole crowd agrees on. Like
okay.
spelling out Trayvon, or like forming a cross and then singing, playing melodies of heaven from that. I don't want to mix that. I don't want to hear all of that.
You don't like that using that as a way to claim the victory over the other band.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
like gospel, people do that with gospel.
Friends. We're all together, and let's hold hands, and let's be one. That's because we don't know any music, and we're scared, and you're gonna crank on us. So let's get some good cheer and good vibes out there. Kind of like how you say Howard kind of rolled in there. I mean, that's kind of how it sounds.
Okay, I get that. Like, don't use it as a gimmick. It's kind of like when on Showtime at the Apollo, when they would bring somebody out who was a terrible musician, but they would like play gospel or something, or sing gospel, and it's like you can't boo God, one of those things. I get that, but I don't think it's like that.
Yeah, or little kids. You know what I'm saying? Even though we used the Baby Tigers for years. We used the Baby Tigers when I was there.
Because, I was about to call you on that.
Yeah, I like them, though, because they ran into the pole. That was cute.
Right. Okay.
That's it. So it's cool. So that's really exciting. I'm so glad that you guys are here because I had a question about a picture that Rashad, you actually commented on this on Facebook. You said, like, what rule was this? I think, Chrissy, you said something about that rule or something, and then it was like a whole bunch of people. What rule were they talking about, and what didn't work?
Okay, so at A&T's homecoming last year, it was just so off the chain. Like, some organization after everybody goes back to the plots after the game, somebody brought like fireworks, and they were like, you know, it was nighttime by then, and somebody like put up fireworks, and some people had like drones and stuff to show the crowds. Oh. Well, A&T administration basically piped down on them and was like, in October, you are no longer, you know, you have to cook on the plots. You can't cook out on the plots anymore, basically instituting, you know, rules. And I knew that it wasn't going to be, like, enforced. I just knew it because when they first of all, when they brought it up, it was, when they told the general public, it was October the 1st. I mean, October, you know, homecoming was that month. So it's kind of like, okay, you're going to conveniently tell me that you have these new rules after I book my hotel, after I've done all this, you know, put all this money towards going. Like, how convenient for you to say, oh, here are the rules. And so I was like, I don't know how people could control that crowd, like the police could control that crowd. So basically, the reason why I put that picture was I was like, yeah, you tried to do crowd control, but you see it didn't work. So that's basically what that was about.
Yeah, I was wondering what that was. Rashad, did somebody answer your comment?
I still don't know what the rule is.
Well, there was I mean, you can Google it. There were a page of rules, like you couldn't cook out on the plots where you used to be able to. I think people were. You couldn't bring your own DJs. Like, they were going to hire 2 DJs and have them play throughout instead of, you know, anybody just getting their own DJs. What else?
Wow.
I can't think of all the
alcohol?
rules, but yeah, well, that's what they were trying to say. Like, don't drink. No, they weren't saying that. But you know, so yeah, they were trying to come down on the rules. There were like a whole list of rules. I just don't remember them all. But yeah, that's what that was about. So
you're just trying to make people safe.
Well, I didn't see any of that stuff at all. I mean, I was walking and I heard every 15 feet, you know, I heard a different set of music playing.
Right, exactly.
Took out everything, so I didn't see any rules in effect whatsoever. They need to go back to the drawing board on that one, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. And don't try to be slick and say it like in October when you know homecoming's later that month.
That's huge. Nobody saw that. Especially people coming from out of town. Nobody saw that. You know what I mean? That's interesting. Maybe they just wanted to put it on the books. They say, hey, we told everybody. You know what I mean? Maybe.
You know what? I'm going to be quiet, but I work in higher ed, and that's all I'm going to say. None of that surprised me. That's all.
Yeah. Because you got to cover yourself, I guess. And so, but yeah, I mean, that's any way around. But yeah, keep it safe. For all you A&T folks, y'all keep it safe so, you know, don't get the admins in trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly.
I'm really excited to hear about A&T's homecoming. I didn't get a chance to get to anyone's homecoming, but shout out to you both. Rashad, was there anything while you were walking around? Got a couple of minutes here for the first break. Was there anything other than the game that you were experiencing when you was out kicking it with your boys or anything like that at A&T homecoming?
Okay. Well, so are we not doing any more of the game at all?
Well, yeah, if you can talk about the game, talk about your experience, we talk about that before we go to the first break.
Okay. Oh, man. Well, the first thing I know is that you need to go to A&T's homecoming really early because, last year I watched the homecoming standing outside because the game was sold out by the time we got there. I had no idea that the game would sell out in general, and I found out this year the game actually sells out before the game starts. So I was like, oh, wow. We arrived. Yeah, really good. So we arrived at right as the Star Spangled Banner was being played, and, we bought some scalp tickets. It was only $1 more than usual, so that was fine. It was weird. The ticket we paid $40 for a ticket that cost $39. So that's kind of weird, but okay.
Brother, looking out for you.
I guess. But you got to get there early because we got there at the Star Spangled Banner. We did not get in the stadium until the second quarter. It's a long line. But, eventually we walked in. As we were walking in, we heard Howard come in. And, man, we've been talking about struggle bands this year. And I hate to say it, man, but Howard has definitely become one of those struggle bands. It is very unfortunate right now, because I remember, for years and years that the matchup between A&T and Howard was something that was always, a lot of fun. For a while there, particularly back in the 90s, I can't really speak as much in the 2000s. I wasn't watching as much. But, when I was in school, I always remember that was a, pretty evenly matchup, from time to time. Particularly both bands playing Skin I'm In and, that type of stuff. It was just a lot of fun. It's definitely not the case right now. Howard's definitely a struggle band. Even as we were marching in, just
they weren't struggling as much. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
They were struggling. Struggling like that football team that lost 65-14.
Now that was the struggle. That was the struggle. Yeah.
But even as they march in, and maybe this is my preference, but it's like if I got a band, I want everybody to know that I'm there. That's part of it. And we were probably within about 50, 60 feet of Howard's band as they were marching in. It just wasn't any boom, as they're coming through. It wasn't any real power, to announce the fact that, yes, Howard is in the building. I mean, they just came in, and, you could hear them, and there they were. They got into the stands, and, they had a decent sound in the stands, but it didn't seem like they could play very much. I'm not sure what the rules in the MEAC right now are. Neither band played a lot, but if there's rules in the MEAC, let me just throw this out there. This might be something that we as band heads might need to work on, because bands need to be able to play. We come to the game to hear the bands play. But anyway, A&T, sitting right next to Howard's band, A&T sounded pretty fantastic coming across the field at us. A really, really strong sound. Let me see here. The thing I was talking about earlier as far as Howard not having any seats is that I think that they definitely oversold the game. I think there was a lot of people that didn't get in, or perhaps the tickets that I bought weren't real. And perhaps a lot of people bought those tickets because they definitely did not. There was at least, Chrissy can vouch for this, there was at least 200 or 300 people walking around without seats,
right.
Because that, and some of that, the alumni band was sitting next to A&T, and so they didn't fill up that whole section. But there was still, even outside of that, there still would have been people walking around. That because as soon as Howard left, that whole section, which holds probably 400 or 500 people, filled up. And right. So the announcer was like, if you were sitting in Howard Band's section, if you would please stand up and move. And they just looked around. And then he said it again.
Wow.
And they just looked around. And then a cop came and started asking people to leave. And they just looked around. Finally, after halftime, they were able to get the people to move. But for a while there, it didn't seem like Howard was just going to have to go home or stand on the field and boycott. But the most disappointing part of the whole thing was the fifth quarter. The fifth quarter, disappointing. Every fifth quarter I have seen in the MEAC this year, which has included North Carolina Central versus Bethune, A&T versus Bethune, and then now A&T versus Howard. Every one that I have seen personally has been a major disappointment. So I think that Howard threw out the first tone, and they played some rap song, and the rap song was pretty much like about 8 to 16 measures of music, and it was just a repeat constantly. The percussion parts were just it just seemed like they made up the percussion parts like right then. Like it just didn't it just didn't, it's just like, here's a song, okay, make up a drum beat real quick. It just didn't really have any passion that fit the music. And then the song just kind of ended. It was no ending. It was just an 8-measure loop, and then that's the end of the loop. Kind of like an R&B song would now. Like you listen to Drake, and all of a sudden you say, okay, I'm tired of listening to that, and you just press stop. That's how the song ended.
Wow. It's
really disappointing. So to hear A&T come back with something that sounded so much better. I can't remember what that first song that they played was, but it's much nicer, very well-arranged song. So then Howard comes back. Joe, and listeners, they played neck.
In the fifth.
In the fifth quarter. That's a rule. I mean, we're talking about these rules that A&T's got. What about that rule? What about no neck in the fifth quarter? And not only no neck, but definitely don't play the whole extended 10-minute version with the dancer teams. Yes.
Extended version in the fifth. That's
fifth. That's what you do when you first get in the stands, or in the fifth, or in the fourth quarter. Not in the fifth. That's a rule.
Right.
You know. Then there was something happening in the mellophones and the baritones. I don't know I know I saw at least 2 mellophones, but it's like, you know, the trumpets had a solo, and the trombones had a solo, and then the mellophone player had a solo. But it was 2 mellophones.
Wow.
It was 2 of them.
Yeah, that was good and terrible. That was good and terrible. That was the worst. The worst.
Followed by the baritone solo.
Oh, wow.
So what is it? I couldn't tell if it was like in purpose, like if it was like a jazz solo, but that just didn't make sense because all the sections played first. Because right after those 2 solos, then all the woodwinds played. So it's kind of like, well, what just happened right here? So anyway, A&T played something back. I can't remember what it was again. It seemed like A&T was really catering towards the old school because they seem to play a lot of their older songs. Like I think they played Velvet Rope. And, you know, a couple of the older things that a lot of the alumni would really appreciate. After that, Howard played Skin 'Em In and then left. So, just
Howard
fifth quarters in the neck. They played, Skin 'Em In and they get out of there. So, it's really been very disappointing in the fifth quarters as far as the MEAC has been concerned this year.
So, I guess it's obvious, but who would you give the fifth to?
Yeah, I think it's obvious. Definitely had to be A&T on the fifth quarter on that. It wasn't even really a battle. At least Howard had to respect the decency not Howard. At least Bethune had the decency last week just to leave. If they weren't going to play anything, they just left.
Wow.
Gracious.
Wow, that's interesting. Well, I'm glad you guys were there. Give us a little feedback about it. If you were there and want to let us know what's going on, 718-664-6025. I'm going to mute the microphone. We come to our commercial break here. We'll listen to our sponsors, and we'll come back, and I'll check about the couple of little videos I saw. Not much. And then since Christy's here, got a couple of things to bounce off you guys tonight, couple questions. Then to shout out to a couple folks I had hollered at YouTube. Thanks about that post-edit and stuff. But you're listening to Week 8 here on the 90 Degree Show. Basically, a lot of folks' homecoming week. And a little bit of a, not necessarily a halftime, but in the last little push. This is that last week of October before November. And it's like rivalry week and all that stuff going on. But the 90 Degree Show and then the Week 8 coming back from the commercial break. All right, doing 2 things at once. Thanks again for listening. We'll be back.
Hello, this is Michael Cowan, Director of Bands at Fairleigh High School here in Memphis, Tennessee. Proud graduate of Tennessee State University, marched in the Aristocrata Band. You are listening to the 90 Degree Show here on the Marching Podcast Network. Peace.
Need to write music and drill? Get it on the field. Outfit your band. Keep your administrator happy and still have a life. Encountering drama in the process, ain't nobody got time for that. Let Block Band Music assist you with musical arrangements and drills to fit your band, and also the equipment, gear, and accessories to keep the visuals, music, and marching on point. Contact blockbandmusic@gmail.com and see how this worldwide minority-owned business can uplift your band.
What if there was a Facebook for bands? Wait a minute, there is. Bandhead.org. Bandhead.org is a social network for HBCU show bands. You can create your own profile and post videos, photos, and comments on Bandhead.org. Need somewhere to post events, audition schedules, job postings? Check out Bandhead.org. Are you recruiting for talent? Go to Bandhead.org. Bandhead.org, a social network for bands.
From photo shoots to graduation pictures, from probates to band footage, from pageants to yard shows, there's only one team you can count on, the Edge One Productions. Visit theedge1.com and trust me, you won't be disappointed.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Donovan E. Scott, CEO and founder of E. Scott For Real Music Productions, LLC. You are listening to the 90 Degree Show on the Marching Podcast Network.
Welcome back, 718-664-6025. We listen to the 90 Degree Show here on the Marching Podcast Network. Thanks for listening. Bringing back from Bama State. Don't forget about Bama State, y'all. Bama State. Was looking for them this week. I thought this weekend was a Magic City Classic, but actually next weekend. I knew folks was going to have some periscoping of them or the actual event, so I was like, what's going on? And so then everybody let me know that's next weekend as I bring our experts back in to talk about bands. I would just holler at y'all right quick. I got to see the Fifth with Southern and Texas Southern. They actually had, well, you know what? Let me tell you, I'm looking at the script wrong. I actually have, like they say on my favorite show, Melancholy Happy Trails to Mr. Edward Duplessis. All right? I will go ahead and give him the applause now. Shout out to Mr. Edward Duplessis, a.k.a. Pop. Pop was my band director there at the greatest years in Jackson State history, especially in 1997. He was there, beloved. Outstanding was our field general, the guy that came around, passed out our continuity sheets. That's right, our continuity sheets where he actually wrote out the drill, passed it out to our squad leaders. Squad leaders. He'd call out on Monday. Come get, well, you know, not all the time on Monday. A lot of times we went through the book on Monday. Tuesday, squad leaders come out there. Everybody was squad leader of those great 32 squads would come down, get those continuity sheets, and then basically we go over the drill, and then, of course, those lieutenants would administer stuff. Outstanding system, but then he would drill us to death to make sure that we had it right. And was outstanding because Pop went to Southern, and of course, you know, from Southern, brought a lot of that Southern mentality, but let us know every week that Southern would outmarch us. So we better get it together because Southern's marching. Southern's marching right now. Southern's marching, so we needed to get it together. Had another beloved saying, too, that I always loved. He said that basically it was not a lot of rocket science. A lot of times you just need to just look around and see if you are in line. It wasn't too much. You march and look around. You know what I mean? And he would always say, Ray Charles can see that, that ain't straight. Ray Charles can see that. He would drill that in. Ray Charles can see that ain't straight every day. I think I heard that every day for those 3 years I marched. But And then shout out to my crab brother, Ron Duplessis, who was the heart and soul of the 9-7 Thugsters, our beloved 11 trumpet crabs that came into Jackson State that year. That pretty much was running.
9-7 Thugsters?
Yes. 9-7 Thugsters was our name, and we had a little theme song with Master P. You don't want to go to war with a soldier. No Limit. I guess 9-7 Thugsters. I thought I told you. We were raw. Boy, we thought we were bomb. And we were hard, too, because we took that mentality in the field, Christy, and we was like, wow, your trumpet section is running things. It was the 11 trumpet crabs, let me tell you. So I don't want to go too far and talk about how dope we were, but Pop, man, R.I.P. to you, and shout out to you, Ron, and David Robinson Jr., I think he's like DJ Freeze now down there in Dallas. He's big time, huge DJ. Thanks for giving me Ron's number, because Ron, he off Facebook. Ron is, he in another place now. So it was good to talk to him. But shout out to all the Sonic Boom family. I just give them a lot of applause. A lot of folks had Pop picture on their profile picture, so I put it on the show. So again, shout out to you, Pops. Shout out to my dad. Shout out to everybody that passed this year, whether Jackson State or for wherever. I know a lot of people. There was some other people that have passed from us this year, and I even looked right before we came on the show. I saw, for all you sports fans, Flip Saunders passed, the basketball coach. For all you people that know who that is. So, you never know the time, but at least they are in a better place. So again, shout out to your Pop. So let me get into the zero quarter. Basically, I guess Garrett had posted this up. I saw Garrett's footage here of the zero quarter, and it's basically Southern got there warmed up already. And maybe this is like a director's thing. Maybe come to the stadium warmed up or ready to crank, or maybe that's when the video shows, so Southern looked like they were ready to go on the video. But they started off cranking, and then like Texas Southern took them a couple songs to get back into the mode. So I was like, wow, it's going, it might be a long day. But Texas Southern's pretty loud for their size. Them and like Prairie View seems to like keep the depth to me, like when you think of like quote unquote swag bands and not like, stereotyping those, conference differences, they definitely seem to come with a lot of sound, a lot of heat. Those two bands. I think Prairie View is a little bit more accurate than Texas Southern. And I think Texas Southern, I think they may be smaller. But for years, man, they've just been coming with a lot of heat, a lot of sound. So it was really good to see them. The 5th was raining, and I guess Garrett and them was out in the field. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to all those people affected by that hurricane coming up through Mexico. But, I guess to make a long story short, I thought SU was the winner just because it seemed like Texas Southern, I don't know, they didn't know what they were playing a lot of times. I know, Rashad, you talked about this maybe a couple years ago or like last year's show. You talked about sometimes you being so loud you don't understand or know what they're playing. Or you said, what is this? I remember you always said that. That's definitely what I was doing with a lot of what Texas Southern was playing. I just didn't know. I mean, it was loud and I was excited, but I was like, I wish I knew what that was. But, of course, Southern can be loud, but you just kind of know what they're playing. They just have the arrangement or the power, the tradition, whatever you want to call it, to know what's going on. So I gave it to Southern narrowly because of the clarity differences. But Texas Southern was right there, and I think that they're a really good band. Really quick, with Jackson State's homecoming, it was just a homecoming for the people. For the folks at Jackson State, it was long. The drill was the bomb. I have to say to the Sonic Boomers, the drills are looking great. I mean, I'm just excited. I love the drills. The drills are outstanding. Pine Bluff wasn't there, so like they took the whole show, and then they lost it when they brought the dude out there. I was just like, damn. And he started singing. Yeah, Rashad. I'm glad you didn't see this because you would have probably brought it in the first segment. Like, well, Joe, the dude was singing, so they probably lost. Yes, they did. There wasn't another band, so we didn't really take an L. But if Pine Bluff showed up and just had a drum major out there doing the show, I would have been as equally upset. Please stop doing that. I don't know why we do that. That's horrible. When any band, you know what, Christy, what do you think about that? People singing in front of the band. I asked Rashad, what do you think?
I'm not the biggest fan of it. Well, the only time I can think of like really just loving it when somebody sings in front of the band. The only time I can think about that is when like FAMU does. That's the only time I really like it. Is when
what?
They do that. But
cut out. When they do what? Now?
I'm sorry. When FAMU does their gospel songs, like Order My Steps and Praise Is What I Do. I mean, no.
Oh, I hate Christy. Oh my God, like, woo. Like
I don't like it when it's secular music. I like it when it's gospel, and I only like it when Fam does it.
Oh,
anybody else in any other song, I'm not a fan of it.
So what about
I just think FAMU does it well. I just think that they do it well.
With singers, like bringing a singer in front of them.
Yeah, I just think they do that well.
Oh, man.
We can have a difference of opinion.
No, you're right. Maybe they do. Maybe I haven't seen it enough, but I think that is just the worst thing ever. And then there was another part.
No. The worst thing ever is bringing out the big girls or the big boys. That to me is the worst thing ever.
Why
the white boy.
Why you don't like that?
How many times do we have to see it?
Well, that's saying that I do like it, but like why you don't like the big girls or the white people or not white people? I'm sorry.
Just think it's a gimmick. It's like making fun. It's like laughing at somebody else's expense.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, that's a good point, Chris.
That's how it comes across to me.
Well, okay, that's a good point. That's actually a good point because maybe that is like, oh, okay, they out there doing. Because even when they go down for the splits, people be like, whoa, like the whole crowd like, whoa. So I definitely can feel that. But Christy, what about? I would love for you guys to see what this performance was like, and just how bad it was. I don't know. I hate it. And then there was a part where it was like, oh. So then, like, the band was playing the part, and then he was trying to sing with the band. I was like, man, hell nah, man. It just...
See, that's what I don't like about it. That's the only... you're right. I agree with you there, because it's really hard to match up the singing with the playing, and what if there's, like, an echo or whatever.
Yeah.
It just never... or what if the mic goes off, and, you know... You have somebody standing out there singing their heart out and no sound is coming out because, you know, they're not mic'd or whatever. I mean, I get that. I just think that FAMU does that well, and only gospel. That's it.
Well, they probably do. But I definitely hate. I know when I see it, I'm like, man, I'm definitely turned off about it. Then shout out to, I watched it on Periscope. I didn't watch it live, but I think the brother's name is Travis. I can't remember his last name. He barks with the boom. I think he had put the comment on there. I was watching that he said that it was a gospel song, so you know he didn't want to curse or whatever. So I was like, dang, I didn't know that was gospel. I just hated the dude coming out there singing, you know. But you know maybe some folks liked it. But it was a typical show outside of, you know, the drill. Drill was really good. Okay, then really quick. Well, you know, I'm going to bring this up in the last segment about Johnson C. Smith because I saw their show and, man, yeah, struggle bands. I just throw it out there. Everybody was nice and talking about, well, they wasn't really. Yeah, I'm putting it out there. So we should probably talk about that in the last segment. Because I saw a lot of folks was there. Smith had homecoming. Their homecomings this week. A lot of folks had fun. But, man, I don't know. Maybe they just don't care about the band. Folks may be just gonna let it go at Smith. But that's another thing. Right quick, Morgan and Central. That was actually the halftime show that I actually got to see, and I thought it was a really good show. I gave a slight edge to Central just because Morgan had a lot of those Alcorn, Alabama State-ish parts where like they were slurring or you just didn't know the music, and they sounded really good coming on the field. Like they played this really tight little, like chromatic little down little thing for their intro, and I was really excited. And they were loud, but then like all of their songs were like things that the three of us probably played, and we're not old, but the whole Earth, Wind and Fire show that's been done millions of times, I would say.
But see, Morgan, that's just how they roll. Like Morgan is known for having, like doing one artist in a show. Like they're known for that. Like even, back when we were marching, they did that. Like they used to pride themselves on, like, I think somebody put on the Fifth Quarter back in the day, like, what does your band pride themselves on? And, different bands, people were saying different things. And then, like, the Morgan State people were like, well, we pride ourselves on playing one song in the dance routine.
Yes,
and I was like, huh? I think they've stopped doing that now, but they used to be, like, known for – so it doesn't surprise me that Morgan did a one artist show or, the Earth, Wind and Fire theme show. That doesn't surprise me at all.
It was Earth, Wind and Fire though. That's what tripped me out. Like I thought they were gonna do someone that like had a CD or something new, but they went to In the Stone and then Boogie Wonderland. I was like, wow, I think I did that same show as Smith in '96. Like
you can't hate on the Earth, Wind and Fire shows, man, because unfortunately, you have to go back there if you want to find any music that's actually hard to play.
Well, you're right. Maybe I'm coming off wrong. Maybe because I like Earth, Wind.
I do see where you could say it was a little bit dated, but knowing what I know about that particular program, that does not surprise me.
Wow, because they sound good, Christy. I mean, like when they know what they coming, like that intro coming into the field, they know that. And I was like, wow, they sound like 300 deep or something. Like, they were nice.
Yeah, well, they're having a good year. Like, apparently they've been doing – so I have this is how I know I'm old. I have a girlfriend who I marched with at A&T who has a daughter in Morgan, and apparently they've been doing a big push for recruitment. They haven't done a lot of They didn't used to be this big. Like, I saw a picture of Morgan, I was like, hold up, y'all are swole. Like, y'all never that big. I mean, they're usually like a solid, like a Block 96. That would probably be a good year for them. Like a Block 96 was typical. But I looked at them now, and I was like, oh, y'all swole. So apparently they're going out, some of the staff members are going out and doing a lot more recruiting than in the past, and I think they have like offers of full scholarships and things like that. So, that's what's going on with them.
Well, good for them. Good for them. That's good to hear. Because I like that.
Do you guys have a band that no matter kind of what you hear about, you know them as not really being that good and not really being that big? And so it's hard for you to have that different impression of them. Like, for me, when I was in school, Morgan and Morgan, shout out to Morgan's trombone section. I love you guys. Great job. But other than that, the band really wasn't all that, and neither was Del State. And so if I hear somebody say, oh, Morgan is awesome, like I saw Morgan at Homecoming last year. Morgan was pretty doggone the bomb, and I was talking about them myself last year. But I haven't seen them at all this year. But it's kind of like my mind has mentally reset.
Right.
Say that if I haven't seen them, they're probably not all that great. So do you guys have a band like that? Like, that you just have always known them not to be that great, and now even though they're on the come up and doing really well, you kind of still see them that way?
Christy, do you have anybody like that?
Morgan. I think I'm like that with Morgan, and I'm trying to think, like, if Mississippi Valley is good. I don't know. I haven't seen them this year, but I feel like I would put them in that category, Mississippi Valley. If they have, if it happens that they having a good year this year, if they have a really good year next year, whatever, I'll be like, so does Valley, you know? I mean,
yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Which is unfortunate. It's so unfortunate, but yeah, I think Morgan is definitely in that category. Delaware State's in that category for me.
Wow, really?
Those are the ones that come to mind off the top.
I mean, Joe, I'm sure you would probably say Mississippi Valley as well. I think all the SWAT people would probably put Valley right there.
Yeah, and I was gonna say Alcorn, but I had to like reset because that's just me hating on Alcorn. Just because I don't like Alcorn.
Good.
So yeah,
I'm so glad you checked yourself.
Yeah, because I think like in the last couple of years, people were saying, "Oh, they're getting good now." I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like I don't,
Right, you know. Exactly.
Yeah. So
I
feel
see
you on that. I feel you on that. That's actually a really good question, man. So and I'm glad you said Delaware State. Shout out to and I'm glad you own Christy. So you know, just in case I say it wrong, Chavis Anderson. Chavis Anderson. Shout out to you, man. Really like what he does. He's like the master of the selfie stick right now. So he's, you know, doing his entertainment thing with his mic, and he interviewed the drum major, interviewed Miss Black Delaware, I believe, there at his homecoming. I just wanted to give him a shout out because, you know, I saw some of his video. I didn't see all of the halftime show, but got to see, like, you know, him being right in front of the band. That's actually really, really cool. So shout out to him. I'm sure Delaware State thing was live, doing his thing. He can call in, let us know. But it was really cool. I like him, you know, being able to interact with the crowd. And it seems like the crowd knows him already, too. Like, they know that's who he is.
Hey, Joe, I think I was standing right next to him at the North Carolina-Virginia Battle of the Bands 2 weeks ago. Based on your description of him, like during the fifth quarter, I saw this guy.
Wait a minute, you haven't met Chavis?
No, I haven't met him yet.
Both of y'all were on the cruise.
But, well, God, that was 20 years ago.
Cruise.
That was 20 years ago.
No, it was not 20 years ago. It was 13 years ago. Okay.
13 years. It's all a month right now. It all runs together right now. Like God, I
just thought y'all knew each other. My bad. Darn.
If I did, it's probably one of those people that I did know, and I don't know him anymore, you know. But I saw, I saw a dude
exactly the same.
I saw a dude that was standing there with his camera, and he had a selfie stick, and he was kind of like, yeah, blah blah blah, and this and that, and here we go, and then he was standing there, and then he took off. I think that's probably gonna be the guy. Like he just took off running.
Right.
Yeah, that's him.
That's cool. So, yeah, I got to see some of his stuff. You know, I always like to check out where my little Periscope whistle goes off, and I get to actually sit down and see it, whether it's live or secondary. I always want to give the, you know, folks shout out, you know, say thanks for, you know, what they're doing and stuff. But, yeah, that homecoming, and then I talked about Morgan. But, yeah, Morgan, they're good. But definitely there's some fine-tuning that needs to happen for them to take it to the next level. But I'm glad you guys said that about Morgan, because maybe that's just like a tradition. Maybe they got that just Detroit Lions type thing going on. You know what I mean? So that's cool. And then shout out to my man Deland T.D. Hollins. Central's getting better. I like the tuba. I like the tuba line on like the dance routine. I like the selection. From each song to each song, I really enjoyed that, and I felt that they kept it together better than Morgan. I think like Morgan was louder, and then probably had a little bit more power, but Central was clean, and they were hitting more of the notes. You know, like they weren't missing so many notes, like, you know what I mean. So definitely gave it to them. Only other thing I had left was Johnson C. Smith in the last break, and I'm looking at the clock here. I got like 10 minutes. Chris Jones, if he called in, and who knows, probably ain't nobody listening from Smith anyway. I can fit it in here before we get to the last break, and then again, you could, if you're welcome to call in 718-664-6025. You know, when I was at Smith, you know, it was a lot of pride, but I'm starting to feel it was like Mr. Gray. Like, what would Duke be without Coach K? You know what I mean? Like,
oh, sorry, I'm a Carolina fan.
Yeah, so you know, Christy, like, would they be the bomb like that? So, like, you rolling with Duke. Are you really rolling with Duke? You know what I'm saying? So I'm starting to think that way about, like, Smith. Like, you know, Smith's tradition. So was that like Mr. Gray? You know what I'm saying? Was that Flair and all that? Was that Mr. Gray or was that Smith? I don't know. I just know
I think it was Mr. Gray.
I just know.
I mean, I've met with Mr. Gray on several occasions. I think that's just him. He's a very spirited dude, as you know. So
because they have fallen like all the way off, and I have some good friends. They still kicking it. You know, KK Psy, representing there. Chris Jones, KK Psy, and all of them. They still alive, running around doing their thing, well in their careers with kids. And at homecoming with pictures and stuff. But then I see, shout out to Travis Johnson, who actually had the film. And shout out to your brother. I need to have you on the show. I guess maybe you live in Charlotte. But, man, like, they were so bad. It was so bad that, you know how, like, they put a lot of black neighborhoods next to, like, railroad tracks or, like, next to airports, like, way back in the day. You know, if you guys are ever in Inglewood, California, I know this was like tripped me out. When I was there at a lot of those houses, the planes for LAX was like flying right over your house. Like you could throw rocks at the planes flying into LAX over these parts of Inglewood. So that like tripped me out. And then like in Charlotte, like where you are, McCory Heights are really good with affluent neighborhood. Actually, where the president's home is there for Smith is right there next to the campus, but you hear a lot of the train whistles or trains coming through that neighborhood. There was a train coming through during Smith's performance, and the dude, for whatever reason, maybe he's just being a you-know-what, just pulling the whistle, or maybe he needed to do his job, but the train whistle literally swallowed the entire band performance up. I was like, man,
wow,
microcosm.
Wow.
Of the end. Like the IIOS just like took an L like in the face. Dude, I was like, why he have to do that? And I was mad for a second. I was like, you know what I'm saying? You just saw the people. But man, like some bands would be louder than that. Maybe some bands wouldn't build like a half wannabe stadium right there in the depths of the gullies of your campus. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But Smith, man, wow. Hey, thank God for basketball. That's all I can really say. And for the folks that's the alumni, and I don't want to call no names, I'm not calling nobody out, but man, like, I don't know if anybody cares. They had an alumni band a couple years for Smith. I know I marched it. I don't know if they still have it. I know Samuel Glover, I know he was helping with that. But, man, they're bad, and they have no support. We got a IIOS Facebook page, and don't nobody be saying nothing about the band. In fact, I don't even know if anybody be on that page, to be honest with you. I put the show, like, hey, come and check out the show. But, man, it's sad, man. It really is. I had to get that off my chest in the air. And, you know, who knows if anybody listening to Charlotte in the 704. But the IIOS.
You feel better?
I tell you.
Yeah, I know, because I felt that. I felt your pain.
I mean, just Christy, they were bad. Like, they're bad. Okay, like, there's about I don't even know the director or anything like that, but it's just like they have no confidence out there. I will say, though, the uniforms are tight, though. The uniforms,
come on, man. Is that the only compliment you can pull?
Yeah, the uniforms are tight, though. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
they didn't sing. That's a compliment. They didn't sing.
Well, they didn't sing, and they kept their horns front. Like, they had a very simple drill, you know what I'm saying? But it was like, you know, we just don't have no confidence, you know. And then, of course, the people clapped at the end because they're family. But man, it was it was a tough. It was real tough.
You know
to
what?
watch.
That reminds me of something. Like pet peeves. Like you have a pet peeve. You don't like the singing or whatever. I don't like horns on the ground.
Me either.
Oh.
I don't like it. I don't like it. Even
like
when
when
Southern
people,
does it, I don't like
put your horns down to dance.
Yeah, like on the ground to do the dance. I just no.
When you put your hands on the ground, you stop becoming a band person. You start becoming a dancer. I mean, you're a dancer.
Exactly.
You're not a band member. And that's my thing.
Yeah.
I don't like it either.
Yeah.
Okay,
well,
well,
all of us marched in bands who did not do that. So maybe it's just a personal thing. Like, okay, I didn't do that. They don't do that at Hampton, at least that I know. And I know they didn't. They don't do that at Jackson State, do they?
No, we didn't do that. But I think at Smith we did.
Our dance committee.
I just don't like it. It's so small time to me. It's so small time.
Our dance committee did that one time at Hampton, and I wanted to quit the band.
Oh, really?
I did. I was like, what? You want to what?
Right.
Okay, so right quick before the commercial break, another pet peeve. What about jewelry and the uniform? Christy, what do you think about jewelry and the uniform?
No.
Yay or nay? No?
Nay.
So like earring in the nose, earrings at all, jewelry, rings, anything.
Rings are fine.
Oh, okay. But no earrings.
No.
Okay, Rashad, what you think, man?
I would say absolutely to the no. However, I don't really know how it is with the girls as far as like the earrings, but I would say if you're trying to keep it from closing up or whatever, it's got to be the smallest earring on earth, basically. But nothing visible.
Well, I hear that, man. Definitely nothing visible. I definitely don't. I don't think that's good luck. You have, jewelry on with the uniform. But that's just me. I'm gonna go ahead and mute the microphones before the last segment. You're welcome to call. You're welcome to call in 718-664-6025. Listening to the 90 Degree Show this week 8. I have a question for Rashad and Christy. Band pose. Other than, us talking about pet peeves and stuff, but band pose. And if there's anything else we talk about for the week, anything Christy and Rashad have coming up. And I got a shout out to a person on YouTube. Thanks again for the post-editing shot. Truth Be Told. Thanks for asking. Truth Be Told hit me up, and he was like, yo, man, when did you talk about Morgan and stuff like this on this show? And I was like, oh, my bad, man. I didn't get a chance to do it on that show. But I was like, I need to start post-editing. So shout out to Truth Be Told. And then the other person on here, The Crown Jewel 821. The Crown Jewel 821, shout out to your brother. I posted my favorite War and Thunder cadence, Long. I believe that was what I heard it to be called. I posted that there on the YouTube. And then he actually corrected me. It's Laws 1. To be exact. So I guess they have more than one Laws, just like they got more than one Funk Train. So shout out to those two dudes. Let's go ahead and get to the commercial break, and we'll be back. Thanks again for listening to the show.
Hi, this is Thaddeus Dixon, Crab of 94 on the Sonic Boom of the South, graduate of Jackson State University, class of 2000. And you are listening to the 90 Degrees Show at the Marching Podcast Network.
Having an anniversary party, birthday party, or better yet, you're about to marry that special someone? Liquid Effects Photography is the perfect choice to immortalize all your most special moments. With 10 years of dependable professional service that can deliver from the conventional to the best in cutting-edge technology and creativity. Come experience the uniqueness of Liquid Effects Photography. We serve the entire upper Midwest and will travel further upon request. Come check us out at liquideffects.com. That's LIQUIDEFFEX.com. Or call us at 773-454-5556. That's 773-454-5556.
From photo shoots to graduation pictures, from pro bass to band footage, from pageants to yard shows, there's only one team you can count on, the Edge One Productions. Visit theedge1.com and trust me, you won't be disappointed.
Band directors, have you ever found yourselves in this situation? Showtime is quickly approaching. Your budget is quickly disappearing. Your music choices are narrowing. The equipment condition is wearing and your stress level is mounting. Stop what you're doing and contact Block Band Music and find out how we've got you. Check www.blockbandmusic.com, providing music, equipment, gear, and accessories to show style, core style, and traditional bands worldwide.
What if there was a Facebook for bands? Wait a minute, there is. Bandhead.org. Bandhead.org is a social network for HBCU show bands. You can create your own profile and post videos, photos, and comments on Bandhead.org. Need somewhere to post events, audition schedules, job postings? Check out Bandhead.org. Are you recruiting for talent? Go to Bandhead.org. Bandhead.org, a social network for bands.
Hello, this is Michael Cowan, Director of Bands at Fairleigh High School here in Memphis, Tennessee. Proud graduate of Tennessee State University, marched in the Aristocrat of Bands. You are listening to the 90 Degree Show here on the Marching Podcast Network. Peace.
Hey, everyone. This is Dr. Darian Hampton, Meharry Medical College School of Dentistry, class of 2007, and you are listening to the 90 Degree Show here on the Marching Podcast Network.
All right, we're back in our last segment. You're welcome to call in 718-664-6025. Tell us what you saw this week. Anything we said or any of your pet peeves, if you will. Listen to the great Savannah State bringing us in with a little B. Angie B. I Don't Want to Lose Your Love. Shout out to Otis Jefferson, who called in last week on the show. Their homecoming was last week. He said everybody was doing okay. The morale was good. And they came out and did a really good show. And it was really lovely and spectacular. And Savannah State is going to be okay. Check out the website. Check out our Twitter page. I'll repost that here in a second. But there is a link to go help them out, one of those GoFundMe pages to help out Savannah State. And I will put that link shortly there in the chat room. But you guys go and help them out for anything you can, even if it's $5. We definitely want to build and instill and implement the idea of financial support with each other. Rashad, earlier this year, or I think last year, started the 100 for Hampton. I unmuted your microphones there, guys. And having some success with that. I know when Cortez Bryant gave the money to the Sonic Boom, I think on Crab Brothers, Kevin Lewis, shout out to you, Kevin. I need to holler at you if you're listening. We need to redo the promo thing if you're out there listening, Kevin. And they wanted to set up the fund so that, we would be able to turn over that money or we'd be able to use it for years and years to come. We definitely need to build that academic ideology within our community. And what is it? Kwanzaa. I don't know the ones, but one of them is economics. One of them is building economics. That's huge. We definitely want to try to instill that, and we definitely want to try to do that here in the Marching Podcast Network. So you guys support your school, support your alumni, become a member of your alumni association. It should be like annual dues involved. Pay those dues. If you are a frat or if you are a sorority, pay your dues. I mean, I'm just saying, be a part of the organization also financially support what's going on. We only help each other, and like we said, we all we got. All right? So, moving to the last part, I want to ask you guys, there is a blog, HBCUsports.com. Shout out to whoever's running that. I think one of the contributors. Okay, K. Rashad. Shout out to and him, and then there's another guy I think that went to Jackson State, like a contributing editor or something like that. He has started, or they have started to post the blog joints, polls. Who won this battle? Who won that battle? Yada, 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 right? We used to do that here, the Martian Podcast Network, called them the People's Choice Awards. Folks would go to the website and vote on who they thought, blah, blah, blah. And I came into a crossroads with that, so we're not doing that anymore. And I left a comment on the blog that was edited out. So, like, I don't know if they mad at me or if, like, you know, they feel like I was trying to, like, plug on their blog or whatever. But I was basically saying, like, well, you know, I won't say that. Let me ask you guys first. Christy, what do you think about the voting polls to say, like, what band won or just talk about battles of the bands?
Well, I don't know if I have an opinion on it. I mean, I can understand how bloggers when I have something like that to garner interest. So, you know, I mean, it's just a popularity contest. Right. I mean, that's how I see it. It's just the popularity contest. I mean, when I see polls like that, no offense to anybody that has them, I just don't take it seriously because it kind of feels like clickbait to me. Right. You know, that's just how it feels. But hey, maybe I'm cynical about it. You know, maybe I'm just being a cynic, but that's how I see it.
Rashad, what you think, man?
I'm kind of like Christy, not quite as negative though. I think that's in general how I am.
Whatever.
Yeah, he probably wasn't talking about you though. He wasn't talking about you, Chris.
No, I mean they're just there. I appreciate the fact that they're there because, you know, they could not be there. You know, so any opportunity to talk about band, I think is a good thing. You know, I think it's an HBCU athlete that I've seen on Facebook, and you know, it's cool that if somebody is actually paying attention to actually say, hey, here are the bands that I think are the best, or you know, you put your vote in order to see who's the best. So they could be completely ignoring this like they've done for years. I will put out though that I think that on a national level, like when it comes to things like ESPN and USA Today, I think that our bands, I hope they're listening, I think our bands need to do a better job of marketing themselves to let people know that they're out there. Like, for example, you know, going back to A&T again, the fact that I've never seen A&T on the list of, you know, top bands up there. But I think that anybody that will see, you know, the show just from the perspective of, hey, it's a good show, and it was done with a very good video team. A&T's video team is awesome. And so I think that anybody can appreciate that. And I think that anybody at, you know, ESPN or USA Today would probably begin to rank, you know, North Carolina A&T and other bands that have really great videos as some of the top bands. Southern, of course, you know, often comes at the top. And I think the fact that, you know, you can get a great video of Southern's band by watching some of the stuff that Garrett does, you know, I think that helps a lot.
Yeah, that's huge because, I mean, that's kind of, you know, it rolls into kind of my thing about it. Like Christy said, it's somewhat of a popularity contest. But then when people were saying that to me about the People's Choice Awards, they were like, well, you know, all these people are saying this. You don't know, like, you know, how they are voting or what they say is yay or nay. My response was just like you said, well, I'm just trying to get more of the tags on the internet about these schools so then they're not always connected to financial issues, blacks don't support these schools, hazing, the band hurt somebody, these tags building good media, which is essentially the core essence of what we're trying to do here in the Marching Podcast, is influx the media with positive things of what we're doing. And, like you said, it's a good conversation. Oh, I'm sorry, what you about to say, Rashad? Or someone was about to say something?
It was me. So, I had the end of the season awards on the fifth quarter. We had those for several years. And the thing that I think is just a little bit different is that, and in your case too, is like, we're a site for bands. Like, we are where, the real band heads go. So, I mean, it's one thing if a band-related site does a poll. I take that much more seriously than just, a random site, or I mean, I don't want to say random in a negative way, like it doesn't count, but I just don't look at it the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, that's the thing. Like you said, I don't look at it the same, and then there wasn't that much media out there to be like to go to get the real. You know what I mean? Even our man Tom Joyner. He's a big advocate at that level. He said not too long ago he think bands is whack and that they too old and they play it in the stone too much. So we obviously know he's not really paying attention.
Did that. Yeah.
So he's not really paying attention himself to bands.
But
you know what I mean?
Though? But look at us complaining about Morgan playing their Earth, Wind and Fire show. That's basically the same thing.
It sounded like he was spot on to me.
And then like how we get on here and we gripe and complain that we're not innovating, but then when somebody outside of our circle says it, then it's kind of like, we got a problem with it,
That's different. So that's different with Tom Joyner, because it is because he said that, and then like his rhetoric behind it did make sense. Like he was bringing up, In the Stone or Pretty Some Old Things. It's plenty of innovation going on. Like he's not talking about A&T or the actual bands that we actually able to throw back at people to say that we not doing dead things. I was getting on Morgan because it did seem like they was old. You know what I'm saying? It did seem like for that sound, I want to hear them play something else. You know what I mean?
That's how they do, and also they've had the same director for like 30-plus years.
Yeah, so see, Tom talking about them. Tom talking about Morgan. You know what I'm saying? He ain't talking about nobody else.
You trying to backtrack.
You know what I'm saying? He talking about specific folks. But, I mean, I guess that was, in essence, of all I was bringing it up, like, I guess having the media or having those tags out there on the internet about something positive, even though it was like a, like you say, a popularity show, if you looked at the comments, some of the folks was like, Texas Southern has one of the greatest bands in history. And it's like, that might be true, but we talking about last week, brother. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, he voted for them. So, I had to throw that out there because I want to see what you guys felt about it. I know that we stopped it because of that lack of adjudication, or like, when Rashad and I was doing the breakdown last year, we were saying specifics of why we thought, then we put the poll in there. Not everybody's necessarily doing that.
Right.
But definitely if you guys need to get the real, go to the forum.5th, was it the forum.thefifth.com? I don't know. Or, you can go just do thefifthquarter.com. Yeah, and it'll just go.
Yes, it automatically goes to it, yeah.
And it's the best. It's probably the best thing to get your ear to the street. Folks is a little rough there. They ain't necessarily nice. So it's not really faint at heart. But, I mean, thank you again.
You got the E-gangsters like Rashad.
E-gangsters.
The E-thugs like Rashad.
Keyboard Courage, Keyboard Cowboys.
Exactly.
I heard a lot of
froggy with the fingers. Get froggy with the fingers.
Well, that's outstanding. I don't see anyone else in the call queue, but definitely I know next week we'll have something. I know we'll be talking about that Magic City next week. But
and Honda results. Results come out.
That's right. So we definitely want to. I'm sorry. What'd you say, Rashad?
When do they come out?
I don't know, but on the Honda website today they posted. They said the 8 bands will be announced soon. So I don't know what soon is, but you know how we do. We know too many band directors in this small little circle of ours. We find out who's coming. We find out who's coming. It's all good.
So really fast before I ask you guys what's going on and you tell the listeners anything they should be, looking out for you this week. If you could throw out 2 schools, I'm going to ask you both, 2 schools off the top of your head that you pretty much feel in your gut that is getting in, who are they? Christy, who are those 2 schools to you?
That are good, you think?
Well, in your gut, do you think that they're going to get in? Out of, based on popularity, people who voted?
Honda?
Get in for Honda.
That's a good question. I'm going to say FAMU.
Okay.
And, oh, my gosh, FAMU and, oh, man, I don't want to take up, dead air. I got to think about it, though.
But that's good. FAMU is good. I think a lot of people going to rebound and vote for them. Rashad, what you think, man?
That's going to be T and Bethune.
Bethune, that's my second. Thank you.
I mean, Bethune is basically on the Honda Council.
So you say who in Bethune?
A&T in Bethune.
A&T in Bethune. Okay, yeah.
I don't know if A&T is a lock. I wouldn't. I like it, but I don't think A&T is a lock.
Really?
They've been showing up though.
After they just did the greatest show of all time.
I mean, hey, I don't make the decision, so.
I think A&T because even when they're not at their best, just people still continually bring up the fact that they're still a very innovative band.
They have the best halftime shows, right? So you basically think they would be there to help support the product. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, hey, they had to do flying on the dude's shoulders a couple years back. You know what I'm saying? They need that visual to sell the tickets, I think. I was gonna say A&T. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rashad.
North Carolina people are going to support. I think they always bring a good crowd along with them. So because Honda's Eyes is also about that support. Who's going to bring that money in? So with them being the winner of the Honda 2 years ago and having a great showing last year, I think that even if the voting committee had to throw in them just to keep it relevant, I think they would even go so far as to do that because they're bringing money.
Well, I definitely think that when you brought up Bethune, that kind of makes me like, okay, probably them too. But I think Miles going to get in this year, y'all.
I would love
that would
Miles
be nice.
being there.
If Talladega got in last year, I think, like I say, my gut just feels a lot of those people are going to vote to put Miles in this year. I mean, you got to put Miles in this year. You know what I mean?
Joe,
Shout out to
they
Brother
got to be there.
Joe, I was watching the exhibition show earlier today. I don't know what the heck has gotten into them, man. But I couldn't see the show from up high. It was from the ground level. But, wow, they sound great. I mean, their sound is improving every single time that I hear them. Like, their attacks are good. People are sustaining notes. The blend is getting better all the time. Like, it was very hard for me to be critical of the sound that I heard today. Well, of course,
man.
They did sing, so, of course, I know you wouldn't like that.
Yeah, you should have told me that. I don't know where that came.
Look, you know, Cookman is a walking chorus with instruments.
I know, I hate it.
They're gonna piss you off so bad. Are you going? Are you going to Honda?
Joe, you need to go to Honda. Stop playing.
I would like to, but man, you know, when I moved out here to California, I just told folks, "Oh yeah, I'll just get a plane ticket." Yeah, it ain't really all that easy. And then I messed around.
Plane tickets are like $100-something, man. Come on.
Yeah, man. I have to figure out. It's leaving my kids, man. I figured I can't really be away from my kids too long, man. I gotta break.
So you do like I do, and you fly in the morning of, and then you fly back the evening of. And guess what? You're on West Coast time. So when you get back, you will still have some of your day left.
There you go.
Yeah, see,
the problem solved.
the party
can't be the
excuses
legitimate
are
source
tools of the incompetent.
You can't be the legitimate source of show style band and not go to the show style event, Joe.
How can you not? How can you not? And be taken seriously as a bandhead.
We need to have a poll.
One Honda. Get your
we
life.
need to have not one Honda, not one. Get them.
I know. I don't even
what
know
happens when you have guests on your show, Joe.
I know.
I'm going to need for you to do a live podcast from the Skybox, the fifth quarter Skybox that we always did.
Do you think I could hardline? Because I don't trust Wi-Fi. You think they could get me a modem up in there I can plug into something?
Now, I don't know about that, but
yeah. I have to work that out, but that is possible. I mean, I've done the show on Wi-Fi before, but that would be something. But I mean, I like the party, Chris. So I don't know, like, if I'm there, I want to be there. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be there and not like partake in stuff. You know what I'm saying? That gives me like 2 or 3 days.
Gosh, he got an excuse for everything, man.
Okay, so what would you partake in? Because I'm interested. I'm interested to hear that because
I shouldn't even have brought it up.
Would you go to the club? I mean, you're trying to get to Magic City. I hear you. Okay.
No.
That's the Magic City Classic he's talking about. That's the Magic City Classic he's talking about.
I'm gonna tell your wife.
Yeah, I would never do that. So like, yeah, I would never. I don't even know what that is, man. You know,
right?
You said wow. So yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So, but you're right. I do have a lot of excuses. But listening to this show, I was like, you know what? They right. We really need to be there. So the campaign is on. I definitely will try to make that happen. Is the fifth quarter gonna have their Skybox like they do every year?
Yes, that's the plan. And Rashad's always in. See, that's the band head suite. Like, if you were a band head, you want to talk about band, that's your suite. Now, they've got suites for, different Greek organizations, and that's fine and that's cool, but this is the band head suite. This is how we roll.
Right.
Tell him, Rashad. You know what? I'm not even going to say nothing. Tell him, Rashad.
As soon as Christy says, tickets are up, I've got them.
Wow.
Within the hour, normally, I got them. Because, hey, man, once I've been to the Skybox at one time, man, you don't want to go down there and sit with the rest of the people, man. I mean, think about this. Think about this sadness here. If you want a chicken sandwich, some chicken fingers, and Jackson State is performing on the field, if you're sitting with everybody else, you have to make a choice to decide if you want to get that chicken sandwich or if you want to hear Jackson State play. You have to make a choice because there's no halftime for Honda. Well, there's a halftime, but while the bands are performing, by the time you go and get your concession stand, the next band is performing, and then the next band, and then the next band. So you're going to miss somebody. Or you want to go to the bathroom, you're going to miss somebody. So you just got to sit there and hold it. Or like one of my guys did, he went to the thing and get kicked in the head by an 8-year-old. Or you could be in the Skybox. And if you want to get up and get some pretzels, you can do that. If you want to get a nice sandwich or something, plug in your phone, hang out with people, you don't have to make any choices whatsoever.
Wow, yeah, that sounds very comfortable.
Plus
yes,
leather seats. And let me ask you this. When is the last time that you've been in a suite in an NFL stadium? Is that,
I haven't been. No, I hadn't been. I was at a suite at there's a AAA baseball here, the Inland Empire 66ers for the Dodgers. I've been in their suite there. Really nice chicken wings there. Been there, but not in an NFL stadium though.
Yeah.
So I'm game. I'm working out. Y'all sold me. I am coming up with a lot of excuses. But y'all definitely sold me on it. I definitely need to make that happen. So Miss Walker, what's going on with you? Anything going on with you this week before we close out the show?
No, I don't really have that much going on. I mean, I'm just trying to recover from my homecoming, and I'm a lay low for a couple of weeks. It's all good, but I still be on Periscope, and I just posted something on my blog, and about my homecoming experience, which is interesting. I mean, it's not typical, my homecoming experience. It's probably not what you think I'm going to say. So if you just go to femalebandhead.com, you can read it.
All right. Rashad, what about you, man? What's going on with you this week?
I just want to point out that Chrissy and I were in the same place at the same time, giving a hug and all that type of stuff, and I did not get one picture. I looked at her Facebook page and saw all these pictures of everybody else in the world and no Rashad. I just want to point that out real quick.
Okay, wait a minute. There's only one picture of me up there, and that was with my parents. Next.
You got people pictures. Okay, well, you could have took a picture of me. I play trombone too.
Hey, Rashad, I was about to say, well, she had a picture of the parents and then the four brothers, and then I was like, you know what? I don't even know if I can put them on the same level. Like, she got her parents and she got the four brothers there, the Greensboro. I'm like, man, that's deep. So, she probably was there pretty fast because she got her folks and then like a civil rights monument. But it would have been nice to see the two of y'all. I would have put it on the show thing today. It would have been dope.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to watch the show tonight.
Wait a second. You got a picture of Rashida right here.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Joe, it must have been one of them rules that you... Just before I say anything about Block Band, have y'all seen the Drake Hotline Bling video?
Yeah.
Have you seen the parodies of the Hotline Bling video?
Yeah, some of them.
Oh, my gosh. It is hilarious. Joe, you got to get on that. So Drake, Hotline Bling, very bandable song. We will definitely be doing that. It's a great song. But Drake cannot dance at all. He dances horribly. And so these people have been making all these parody videos of him dancing. Oh, my God. They got him playing tennis, bowling, dancing to Latin music, fighting with a lightsaber, getting thrashed by the Hulk, showing up on Guardians of the Galaxy. Anyway, as far as Block Band is concerned, it is definitely time for band directors to start looking at Christmas music. Competition season is coming to an end, and it is time to start preparing for your parades. So it's now the time to go ahead and get your Christmas music right now. Don't wait 2 weeks from now. It's too late. Go ahead and start getting your music right now. So that's the main thing that's happening with Block Band.
That's outstanding. I really appreciate what you guys do, and the things that you guys know, just the knowledge. I'm really slow with videos. I'm kind of like, I'm really like into sports, man. I'm just like a sports geek. So, all the stuff that's going on right now with Brady and, how they be cheating. I could tell y'all all about that, but y'all know the inside. So I definitely wanted to check out this Drake song, because, man, I'm usually like months behind on videos. I don't watch videos like that. But I really love Rashad, what you do. For all the folks don't know Rashad, on all of his pages that they follow, he usually puts like the YouTube song of the songs that Block Bands arranges, or the songs that you guys are either. So you do that after you guys have actually written the song, and then you post a YouTube clip. Is that what you do?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so that's actually really, really cool for all you folks to like be grooving the music and stuff. Rashad in there, who knows? Maybe you guys may see something that you may want Block Band to do. So definitely contact them so they help build your business. That's getting towards the end of the show. Before I let you go, before I let you guys know, I'll tell the listeners, if you're interested in becoming a sponsor or a patron to the Marching Podcast, please contact the show. We'll give you the criteria so we can pub your business using our platform. We'll play your commercial, show your icon during the broadcast, post your website on our blog, help send out information through social media. So contact us so we can help build your business, okay? So, Christy, as the music here,
yes.
Anything else as we roll out here for the rest of the week?
Oh, nothing else. Hope everybody has a good, safe week.
Well, we're really excited. We really appreciate you being on the show tonight, Christy Walker. Thanks again. And Rashad, anything else before we sign off for the night?
Joe, just thank you for what you're doing to provide this opportunity for us to talk about what we love, which is show-style bands, man. It's a great thing, Joe. Appreciate you, man. And make sure you come to the Honda.
Yes, I need to. I meet a lot of people on the internet, and I need to get over my shyness and start meeting people, like, in person. I definitely will work on that because I need to get that going. But shout out to Mr. Carlton Wright. I am now his friend on Facebook, so now I'm getting more directors here that know what's going on. And he said he wants to also help financially support the network. So I said, I really appreciate, man. That was cool. And then shout out to Brother Mario Warren, who was giving a shout out to NASCAR Rick on the show. NASCAR Rick wanted everyone to know that he loves black people. And, you know, I had to cut him off before he went too deep. But definitely, when folks say they support the black community, it don't probably mean, like, good. You know what I'm saying? And too bad for NASCAR, because I know they're trying to beat that rap. They're trying to sell tickets. People of all color. They got Brad Doherty on there and everything. So shame on you, NASCAR Rick, for using NASCAR for your evil ways. But again, thanks for everybody to the show. Really appreciate listening tonight. That's all the time we have. Check out the website, Donate What's in Your Heart to themarchingpodcast.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Thanks to you for listening. And remember, the lectures you give may be very fine and true, but I'd rather get my lessons by observing what you do. See you next time.